Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Digital Marketing for Creatives. I am happy to see you guys on here and on early. I'm going to allow the others a few moments because I see the attendees coming in. I'm going to allow for a few minutes to allow for the others to join the session. So I'm going to give the others just a few minutes to join today's session. All right. So I am here. We are ready to go. We're just allowing the others a second to come in. We have a lot to get through in today's session, including putting you guys into groups, as well as just a discussion of different areas. And I'm going to be doing a tutorial session today, getting you guys through any information that would have been missed. I know week before last week, Wednesday, there was a mishap. There was a technical issue that was on our side. So we do apologize for that. But we have fixed that issue, right? So just to repeat, I'm allowing the others a few moments to come into the class, and then we will begin with today's lesson. All right. Okay, I'm still not seeing a significant number of or registrants as yet. And so just giving the others a few minutes to join. All right, guys, just a few more persons are streaming in. I'm just giving them a few moments because I want for all of us to be on the same page when I begin. So just giving the others, let me see what time, 2 more minutes to join, and then we will go full steam ahead. Thank you so much for your patience. If you have any questions, how we're managing this. If you have questions to be tackled throughout the session, you would add them to the Q&A section of your chat. You'll see down at the bottom, as well as if you have any general comments, feedback on things that may be said, things to add to the discussion. That's what we're using the chat for. So just to make sure that all of us are clear on our etiquette. Okay, understood, Peter Ann. Thank you for that update. So we're almost ready to start. I'm going to give the others one more minute to join. If they have not at that point in time, we will just begin. Okay, thank you. Excellent. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Monique McIntosh, and I am your facilitator for the Monday sessions. I'm happy to see each and every one of you here. And I am very, very, very excited for us to begin today's lesson. Um, I'm excited to be meeting with you guys because outside of our orientation session, we haven't had the opportunity to interact with each other. As I would have said, as Katie and I would have said in that session, we believe in interaction and engagement. So as much as you guys have your questions, your queries, I will try as best as possible to answer all of them. And anything that I can't handle during the class time, we will either respond via email or attempt to cover in some other way. So we want for you guys to to make use of the raised hand feature in the session. We want you to use the Q&A as well as the chat. Uh, Naturally, I can't do all of them, and maybe all of you won't have every single question answered, but we will try to make sure that are holistic, that you get the full scope of what it is that we're covering in today's session. For all intents and purposes, this is really your first touch point within the digital marketing for creatives course rollout and program, as some of the other elements were dealing with orientation. We'd have missed a class because of technical issues, and I did apologize for that earlier. And then some other topics were looked at, but for all intents and purposes, we're really starting the syllabus in today's session. So without any further ado, I'm actually going to begin sharing my screen, and um, I can begin my presentation. Let's do that. And then, okay. Excellent. So welcome everyone. As you know, this is where we are, digital marketing for creatives, facilitated through Kingston Creative with partners Heart, NSTA, and IDB. My name is Monique McIntosh, and I will be your instructor for today's session. So before we explore the world of digital marketing, what that means, how it fits into the entire realm, and how it can benefit you as creatives, we first have to understand what is marketing. So that's our first launching pad. So I want to throw out to our participants and the persons on the chat today for you to raise your hands. Who wants to give me a definition of what marketing is? If you raise your hand, you'll actually be invited on to speak and give your definition of marketing. So, throwing out to you, attendees, participants today, what is marketing? All right, we have a hand up. Tanisha, there, I've enabled you to unmute. So, if you would go ahead and do so, what's your definition of marketing?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. All right, so for me, it's
Hi.
the process is a process where companies create values for their customers and they build strong customer relationship to capture what you call it now value from customers in return. So it's where companies create values, where companies create values for customers and build strong customer relationship in the process in order to capture
Mm-hmm.
reward or values from customers in return. Profits,
Okay.
something like yeah.
Ooh, Tanisha, I love your definition. And you know why? Tanisha has spoken about many different facets or areas that are super important to marketing. She talked about the communication or transmission of value, which is very important. She also talked about building customer relationships. So it's not just that transfer of value, because I give you something, and you give me back something. That doesn't make it marketing. That makes an exchange. That makes a sale, which is why sales is different from marketing. Yes. But it's the transmission of value, but also is dealing with customer relationships. And she brought back in the communication, which kind of intimated to me about a two-way street. Some sort of exchange was happening. So really love that definition, Tanisha. And I like that these were your words. This was just you coming up with it. So round of applause for Tanisha. Anybody else? There was a second raised hand. Where you gone? We want to hear from you as well. And I'm gonna wait. I want somebody else to come and talk about and share their own definition of marketing. All right, Romario, I've enabled you to speak. Please go ahead. You can unmute.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone.
Hi,
Um,
Romario.
for me, marketing is basically customer retention and basically how you deal with your customers. So
Mm-hmm.
it's basically how you deal with your customer base and customer relations, like how you provide value for them, um, even through social media, like
Mm-hmm.
trying to control like the narrative of even someone making a bad comment about your company or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I like what Romaria has introduced to the conversation, and I would say this is an addition to what Tanisha would have said. Tanisha talked about adding value, building customer relationships, and getting that communication going. Yes. Now, Romario has added another level to say beyond the exchange of value, that one-time interaction. Beyond establishing a relationship, I need to make sure that this is something that lasts even beyond that sale. So it doesn't just end at the sale. Beyond the sale, retaining you as a customer, making sure that you are happy, managing the conversation around what is happening around my brand, how people are talking about me, which is essentially what branding is. So I think that was really important to add to the conversation, Romaria. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Karen, it's not Karen. When you come on, you can tell me your name. The next person who I've enabled to talk. Hi, what's your name, please? Not hearing you. Not sure if you're having any issues with your microphone. You should be able to speak, but I'm not hearing anything that you're saying. All right. So if anything, you could probably drop it into the chat, and then we can read from there. All right. Kadeen or Kadeen, just correct me, please. Tyndale. How
Yeah, it's
should I
Kadeen.
pronounce Kadeen? All right. Hi,
Good
Kadeen.
afternoon.
Please forgive me if I get it wrong some other time. Please, I'm dealing with almost 200 of you.
No, no, no. It's totally fine. It's totally fine.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah, what would you say is your definition of
marketing.
marketing? Hmm.
Okay, so I did communications in school, so I think I have a little bit of a idea what marketing involves. First of all, I understand that marketing is a process.
Hmm.
So I was thinking that marketing is like the process of influencing a particular set of people, what they call like your target audience.
Hmm.
You're basically using strategies and so forth to influence them to buy your product or to um, to be engaged in a particular experience. So it's not necessarily always about a product, but it
Right.
can also be about an experience.
Yeah. Okay. Love that. Um, Important points coming out of what Kadeen, Kadeen, Kadeen,
Kadeen.
Kadeen, right, said. I have a thing for names. I'm disclaiming it early. You see, what my mother call me Monique. Oh God, come on, God, So I'm declaring my hand from early. I'm terrible with names, guys. I'm no disrespect. Yeah, what she just talked about was one that this is a process. It's not just something that you start today and immediately. Yes, with some actions, some marketing actions that you take, you may see immediate results. But this, when we talk about the entire marketing apparatus, a system that is working together to get you to your desired goal or objective, we're talking about something that we're talking about a process, number one. Two, she talked about influencing people. Influence. The words you guys are using are very deliberate, and I love it because we're talking about influencing your target audience. And yes, it may be to buy a product, but really about to take some action that I want you to take. So, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely love it. All right. Also, guys, just a
Miss
quick.
McIntosh, I'm sorry to interrupt, but you're very low. I can hardly hear
I
you.
sound low. All right. I am going to. Is this any better?
Hearing, but you're very low. It's not like when the class just started.
Can you hear me? You can hear me better now? I plugged out my headset.
Mm, no, I don't know if the others can put in the chat, but for me, it's very low.
Gasp. Lord. So I don't, so it's not this then.
Yeah, what's that? Shireen says you're still very low.
All right. Testing, testing. Yeah. All right. Testing.
Yes. Coming
Better?
up. Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
All
Better.
right. So I'll just try and keep a watch at my bar there. Okay. Let me jump into the chat. Okay. All right. Just was feedback from there. Okay. All right. So we've gotten some definitions of marketing. All right. Marketing, if we're going to put it very simply, refers to activities a customer undertakes to promote the buying or selling of a product or service. A very basic definition. And I absolutely appreciate everything that's you guys have said so far. The different elements that we were able to pick and pull from really give a good and wholesome definition of what marketing is. Um, so now that we understand what marketing is, we'll have to go a little deeper into the purpose of marketing. Why are we engaging in these different activities, whether it is to promote a product, to promote a service, to facilitate its sale? And I would even go a little further in terms of this definition. We're talking about the buying or selling of a product or service, even to say promoting persons to take some sort of action, to do something, because in some cases we're not promoting persons to buy or to sell a product or service, but we're encouraging them to do something. We're encouraging them to change their activities or to change how they do something. Even as we look at the current landscape that we're in around COVID-19, the Ministry of Health is not trying to get you to buy a vaccine or it's not a facility, it's not encouraging a sort of trade in that sense, but marketing is needed in order to help persons understand, to share information. So it goes a little beyond, yeah, which is why I really love the comments that were shared earlier. Yeah. So going now into the purpose of marketing, and ultimately we're looking to do something. In most cases, 99.99% of the time, we're looking to um, sell more products or services using persuasive communication tactics. So we're talking about getting persons to understand either your perspective, uh, understand more about your brand, but this is done in a persuasive way. And naturally, what is persuasive changes from person to person, and also how you persuade persons depending on who they are, what their interests are, etc. That's what's going to change. To convince consumers to choose your product or service over those of your competitors. Yeah. So this is multifaceted. And this is why the word process, when it came up, was so important, as well as influencing, because if we connect it back to what is here, that connects right back to the communication being persuasive. Yeah. And using these various tactics in order to differentiate yourself from others within your market segment. Okay. I think I see a definition here in the chat. 1 second. Okay, it wasn't Karen. I still don't have your name. Said marketing involves an integrated set of activities that a company undertakes to influence its target audience with the intention of building and maintaining relationships and selling their goods and services. A round of applause. Love it, love it, love it. I particularly like the use of the word integrated, because we're actually going to talk about that today. An integrated approach towards your marketing. We talked about influence, that's coming up again, target audience, with the intention of building and maintaining relationships. And that even comes or touches on the world of PR, because that's what PR is all about, establishing and maintaining relationships between, uh, publics, and selling their goods or services. Absolutely, absolutely love it. Okay, awesome, Kimon. Awesome. Good job. All right.
I want to share this example with you. This is a video done by Tasty. And I want for you guys to actually listen and watch this video, and then we're going to discuss it afterwards. We're going to discuss the different things it makes you see, what you feel, all of those components. All right. So let's watch this video.
To understand ingenuity is to appreciate the invention of an iconic Jamaican food. Vincent Chan, creator of the Jamaican patty, made the first meat-filled pastry in the modest kitchen of a small snack shop 50 years ago. Today, with a team of over 1,500 strong and a menu that extends beyond patties, Tasty continues to grow. Our services now include canteen concession, first-class catering services, and the ever-popular food truck. As we reflect on our humble beginnings, we acknowledge your support has helped us realize our true potential. Thank you, Jamaica, for making it tasty. We hope you continue to enjoy our many choices as we continue to evolve.
All right. So, did you guys heard? Were you guys able to hear the audio from that video?
Awesome. So I'm going to go back to the raise hand. Yeah. Raise your hand if you want to come on and tell me what it is that you gathered just off the top of your head, what you got from that video a while ago. And I'm actually going to go over to Omario, Mr. Brown.
Good afternoon.
Hi, afternoon.
Okay, so basically from the video, I felt a sense of inclusion. So,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, so you can
Expound.
so basically there's two aspects to it. You can see that it emphasizes that it's being a Jamaican brand, as well as you see that it's enjoyed throughout the generations. So you see it in high schools, it had amongst adults, the elderly, and you can see that the lady with the visa, they travel with the party. So it's something that is Jamaican, and it gives a sense of inclusion. That's what I got from it.
Bap, bap. Jamaican. Omario brought up many exceptional points. Number one being inclusion. This was a very inclusive message. And in fact, may I get goosebumps based on what you're saying? Even more than the video, because you guys are thinking. One, inclusion, and it pulls on so many different groups. You saw kids, you saw mommy and daddy, you saw a little older, you saw many different within a 1 minute clip. A 1 minute clip gave us words like inclusion, cross-generational, showing people in different activities, as well as something that is authentically Jamaican. All right, so we're going to our next person. Thank you very much, Omario. Verol. Verol, I've asked you to unmute. Please go ahead.
All right, good afternoon.
Hi.
Yeah, what I saw first coming out is the pride and the history.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to be Jamaican and a Jamaican product from Jamaica to the world.
Mm-hmm.
The boxes with the person showing their passport and saying going away. And
Mm-hmm.
the sense of you almost tasting that your first taste, maybe in high school days. That
Yeah.
that pride, personally to me, it's almost smelling that patty, and it shows that Jamaican product, you can start small and grow big. And you take the audience with you, and you show that you can transition into products no matter where you start. That's the things I was seeing.
Veral, you're saying some things, but you're not saying them.
I'm not saying that.
Hold on, no. Yes, I get it very clearly. I understand. Even you said a word and you said pride, but you left it at pride. And I think there's another word that you want to attach to it. And you're saying something else about starting small and growing somewhere. But I want either somebody can help Veral to wrap it up in a bow and to explicitly state, but you're onto two very important points. Two very important points. That I
Inclusive.
want.
It's very inclusive. But
Yes.
it was very inclusive.
Yeah, man. And we talked. You're bringing up two new points,
Mhm.
You're bringing up two new points. I didn't even realize you're bringing up two new points. And I want to see if anybody here can can tap on or is getting what I'm putting down, is able to pick up on where we could carry this. You can either drop it in the chat. Just gonna give you guys a quick second. Any of you guys who had raised your hand before get where I'm going, you could drop it in the chat, and or if you've been on before, you could unmute. Because I still want to give others an opportunity to share.
Good afternoon again.
Mm-hmm.
What I am basically got for it, just to addition to what the other person said.
Yes.
Um, as I said, inclusion basically having different target markets inside the video, because you see that they had schoolers,
Mm-hmm.
kids, and mothers and so on. But the
Mm-hmm.
most important one that I really loved about the video is the kids part, because including the kids in the advertisement, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is not a sense that the kids themselves are going to buy it, but it's including a pull marketing strategy, whereas
Oi,
the
oi.
parents know, yeah, the parents would buy it for the kids, because the kids would be nagging the parents too, that they want
Mm-hmm.
parties and so. And that
Mm-hmm.
now, that now would also create a long-lasting thing, because as a kid growing up and you see an ad like that and you start to
Mm-hmm.
eat patty a lot,
Mm-hmm.
when you become an adult now,
Mm-hmm.
you still love patty because you had it from a tender age.
Okay. You
Yeah.
guys are tapping onto it. You're tapping onto the big ticket item. And you're now bust the ceiling. You tap, 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 tap. But it look like you're afraid of it. Yeah. But good points. Yes, he brought back up the inclusion discussion, which we touched on and we said was good. All right. Uh one. I know this is not Karen. I don't know if it's the same person. You can go ahead. Is this you, Kimon? Did you raise your hand? I have a Karen Hutchinson. Not sure if it's Kimon. I've given you the ability to unmute. I see where the person had dropped something in the chat. So I'm going to read it. The ad was like a visual thank you card or personal message thanking Jamaicans for their support through the years. The video showcased cultural aspects that are unique to Jamaicans. Example, traveling overseas with parties in schools, and the togetherness of friends and families. And yes, it is Kimon. Kimon, yeah, I forgot talk, because you're dropping things like this. in the chat, and we want to be able to hear it from you. Okay, but that is good. Visual thank you card or personal message, and that's tapping onto something else again, where the word isn't being said, but it's being it's being intimated, it's being implied by what you're saying.
Miss
uh, c-
McIntosh?
yes, you can go ahead. You can
Okay.
go ahead.
So for me, the
Mm-hmm.
word that comes to my head is it being very relatable,
Mm-hmm.
um in the sense that, I've been a part of being a student. I understand what it's like when, you're so excited when you get your break to go and get a patty.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand, the experience that is almost like a shared experience that we have as
Yes,
Jamaicans.
yes. We're going right back to tapping on the wall. Mm-hmm. Shared experience.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. So since we've had multiple attempts at it, yeah, I'm going to say what your words brought across for me based on what you saw in the video that hasn't been said before. We talked about a collective experience and this and that, and we said pride. Where I wanted you to carry it was national pride. So you were there, right? But literally articulating what you want to say. So, and Veral is the one who brought that out. National pride. Then he also went on to talk about senses. You could almost smell the patty. You could almost taste the patty just from the video. The colors and everything around the presentation was appealing to your senses to the point where and you are so familiar with the product that just by looking at it, you are like, learn not. You can smell a freshly baked beef patty. And that alone is making you hungry. I see Bernadette dropping in the chat. History. And I think somebody said it. Yes, Meryl said it too. Said history. Yeah. Um, Kimon in her description, um, oh, she was asking, is it branding that I'm looking for? The Tasty logo and the products were up front. So it was front and center. You couldn't miss that it was tasty. Um I think this is Kimon as well saying building a relationship with potential customers and making them loyal customers through customer delight. First impressions last. So the ad shows how they interact with society and build their brand. And we're kind of dancing around it still. So the first one was national pride, right? And we talked about it with the inclusion and whatever, but inclusion is different from national pride. There's a distinction there, yeah? The senses and how just all of the visuals just made you just salivate for a little juicy patty. Not the other brand juicy, but a Juicy. Scrumptious, delicious patty. Yeah. Veral also said something that was very important. The underdog. When they showed you the Chinaman in the black and white started out with one kitchen and that they started selling out of one snack counter 50 years ago, right? One man, one kitchen, a very mom and pop, um a very one of the people story. Yeah. Um it is going to the fact that this is a part of you. Tasty and Tasty Patty is a part of the Jamaican legacy and story. Just like any other Jamaican. First of all, we love a good story. A good underdog come up and beat the odds story. Yeah. So it is tapping into that whole idea of the underdog, but it's going a little further than that. And you know where it's tapping to? It's tapping to emotion. There's so many emotions that are being tapped into in this one video. And the emotions include nostalgia, because even with us who are here in Jamaica, we got a little nostalgic for the last time we bit into a steaming hot, freshly baked, tasty patty. Yeah, much less persons who may be within a diaspora or not able to access patties as readily as you and I. It's also tapping into the feel good feeling of families coming together and enjoying a meal, which is something that is really big in Jamaica and around the world. Families come together to share a meal, and so you had that little thing, the little I think it was a boy feeding their father some fries, and the other way around too. And all of the things that we would have talked about, read the schools, and you're going away, you're going travel, and your suitcase after reach. But guess what? The boxes of patties. It never even go in the trunk. Your clothes and everything else can go in the trunk. The patties went with her. It was beside the passport, which is the most important thing to travel. So you can't lose a passport and you can't left the party. Yeah. So it's really tapping into when you see something, there are layers and there are layers. Yeah. Um as we interpret these different messages. Kenardo, oh, you guys don't have the option to share with everybody. I'm seeing persons sending to all panelists. Do you have the option, guys, to send your comments to all panelists and participants? When you look in your chat, you can click the little arrow that's beside the two box, because I think all of you guys are only sending your comments to me, which is going to make it a little difficult for me to read everything, because that's impossible. Yeah. So for the benefit of all, if you guys have the ability, and it's not just you alone, Kennard. I realized it was something everybody was doing. So just to let you just to let you guys know, please change it so that everybody can benefit from the conversation, because y'all festive in the chat. Very festive, and I love it. Okay. So Kenarda says not only that is a Jamaican legacy story, but hey, my students are the best, you know. My students are the best from day one. Storytelling, absolutely important for us to understand as we communicate. Nobody came. Did anybody come on the screen and say "Buy Tasty Patty"? Did they give the name of even one of their store locations? Did they give the price of a patty? No, no, no. The very upfront and direct way of selling is not the only way to sell. And in many cases, it may not be the best way to sell. This was a very subtle approach. You know them telling you to buy some patty, right? In fact, it wasn't really subtle, but they weren't selling to you. They were literally sharing their story and sharing a message. Yeah. And so as we start to rethink, as we start to navigate what it means to even communicate, how we want to build our messages, all of those things, we have to start appreciating these nuggets and these approaches to communication. And it's important that we are able to identify these things, because if we can't identify it, we can't replicate it. So that's the purpose of what it is that we're doing today. It's not because Monique want to waste time with our video. No, it's so that we can start understanding and appreciating the principles, but not as words on a page, literally as things that we can learn from and navigate. Excuse me. Okay, to finish up what Canardo was saying, the video also demonstrates that it is the premier party company with diverse meals being offered. Alongside with Jamaican pride, it's shown where everybody is happy to be at Tasties. Okay. All right. Can anybody tell me in the chat any of the 4 P's of marketing? Just put one. All right. So we have some persons who have some marketing savvy. Guys, please excuse me. We had a morning session. I've been talking for a couple hours. So it's just no my throat decided to dry. And so that's why you see me here. I have my water and I'll be sipping, all right? I assure you I'm fine. Okay, so there are 4 P's of marketing. Basically, for those who may not know, these are the fundamental and core tenets of marketing. These are regardless of which space we're talking about. These are marketing foundations or building blocks. So we're talking about from the days of radio, TV, etc. These were the fundamental tenets that marketing stands upon. So these are the 4 key elements to traditional marketing, and they're designed to effectively foster and promote a brand's unique value. What is it that you bring to the table? And help it stand out from the competition. So the first P that we're going to talk about is product. Now, your product can be a tangible item like clothes, or it can be intangible like a piece of software like WhatsApp on your phone. It can be a tangible product and an intangible product, or you can offer a service or some sort of experience like offering legal services, accounting services, counseling services. You can't touch them, feel them. However, they are valuable and people exchange those things for money. Or an experience that I enjoy, going to Appleton Estate room tour. That's an experience. Going on a cruise, taking a vacation. Those are naturally experiences that persons enjoy. So that's what we're talking about when we say product. Okay. So your product can be tangible or intangible. The next P is price, right? And so price naturally refers to the monetary value of a product, but also the time or effort that a customer is willing to expend to acquire it. What do I mean by that? What happens when a brand new iPhone drop? People wait in line. They stand in rain, sun hot, sleet, snow in order to get the newest iPhone. We're talking about the sacrifices. Kylie Jenner, when her lip kits were, best thing since sliced bread, people would wait on the website because she only released limited quantities. Yeah. So people waited on the website. The new launch was scheduled to drop at midnight, and by 12:05 the site crashed and everything sell out. What are your customers, your clients, your end users willing to expend in terms of energy, time, in order to acquire your product or service? Pricing impacts profit, supply, demand, and how much marketers should spend on a promotion or marketing strategy. And this, something else that I want to impress upon you guys. None of the words that I'm going to say are overly complicated. A lot of the concepts are very, very, very simple, but it is really about your full understanding of what the weight of what is said means. Yeah. So just so that we clarify that from very early on, I am not going to come here with big long terms and a dictionary to confuse you, to make it seem more complicated than it is. However, just because something is simple doesn't mean that it is not complex or simple to understand, easy to hear and listen and say, sounds good. You're going to be called upon to show me what this means in real terms. So that's why I say if you guys have any questions, do not hesitate to Apologies for that. As you see, I got kicked off. But I'm back on now. All right. Let me change my name. Okay. All right. So I'm going to share my screen again and we can continue. All right. So this is where we were. Yeah. And I had just wrapped up about price. All right. So the next P that we're moving on to is place. Now, place is talking about how your customer can actually access this product or service that we're talking about, and how we as marketers, as owners of creative businesses and otherwise, how we can simplify that process in order to increase convenience for on behalf of our customer. In other words, it's talking about putting the right product in the right place at the right time in front of the right consumer. So that entire process all of those elements coming together is how place really shines within our product or 4Ps mix. And the last P is talking about promotion. And promotion talks about marketing communication, the channels that us as marketers use to disseminate information to our different target groups. Now, the different channels that we use look like public relations. It might look like advertising or direct marketing or sales promotions or using social media marketing, content marketing. It can take so many ways, shape, forms that we're trying to communicate information to our customer. All right. So since we have established really the foundations of marketing through definition, what is marketing? And now carrying it a little further to say what really forms the structure and fundamental tenets of marketing. We're going over to traditional marketing. Now, traditional marketing communication refers to any type of marketing communication that isn't online. So once it's not online, you can call it traditional marketing. And this means print, broadcast media, direct mail, phone, as in not your cell phone, but telephone now, and outdoor advertising like billboards. And this definition is from HubSpot. So some traditional marketing channels, traditional marketing typically makes use of direct or indirect outbound methods of sharing information to your various publics. Now, what does outbound methods mean? There are two main categories of, how would I say, how you go about sharing information. And there are two schools of thought. Now, one is taking an outbound approach, and outbound is typically related to or associated with traditional marketing. Now, outbound marketing has this concept that I have a message and I want as many people to see, hear, get this message as possible. I don't really care who these people are. They're people, I want them. And so I'm just trying to push my message out to as many people as humanly possible. So, for example, this includes your print media. When you print something in a newspaper, if you want your ideal target group are 40 to 45-year-old males who are in a management, senior executive role or position at a certain type of company, earning a certain amount of money. That's your target group. That's who you want to see the ad. But when I buy the Sunday paper, I'm definitely not a 40 to 45-year-old man in a senior executive position or title. But that same ad that you put in for Mr. Head of whatever, I will also receive. We're understanding that distinction. Yeah. So print media to include your newspapers, magazines, flyers, brochures. Yeah. Also have electronic media to include television or radio ads, billboards. So all of these are examples of your traditional marketing channels. So here we have a magazine, which this is a BMW Mini Cooper example, right? And the headline reads, "Never be cooped up." Yeah. And so we're literally translating now. This is print media, and these are your magazines. You're trying to communicate value. You're trying to communicate a certain message. Does anybody want to hop on and say, when you see this ad, and "Never be cooped up," Mini Cooper, as well as even these two flags on the side here, what are some of the things that come to mind? Just a quick raised hand, and we do something very quickly. We'll take your answer very quickly. Anybody who hasn't spoken as yet, I'm going to prioritize you. All right, guys, don't give me any sore face when you realize that the same people are talking. I'm opening the floor to anybody who has not said anything so far. All right, Shanice, I've enabled you to talk, Shanice, so you can unmute your microphone, please.
Yes, good afternoon. What I'm seeing is
Hi.
it's like a car racing. Once I see the flag, it's have to do something with racing.
And so what does that tell you about the Mini Cooper? I know nothing complicated, may I ask you. It's very, 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 very simple. If I have a car, imagine I don't know anything about BMW. I don't know anything about Mini Cooper. I've never seen this line of cars before, yeah? But I know that those flags are related to car racing. What does that tell you about Mini Cooper? Shanice? All right, Shanice gone.
I'm not gone.
Katie, you wanted to oh, you come back. All right. Yes. So you see the flags. What does that tell you about any car?
What to tell me about any car? Or anybody who owns a car?
Yeah, what does it tell you about a car?
to come out with hands up.
What does it tell you? No,
I
who
want
can
to
help
that.
Shanice?
Repeat.
All right, so people are coming in. Sheena, guys, I'm asking you to switch when you're making your comments. Just click that little arrow and change it to all panelists and attendees so everybody can see your comments. Sheena says the flags made me think of speed. So that's what I'm trying to get you to what. It said that the car fast. Yeah. David is also saying flags, racing slash speed, cool, space slash freedom. Shauna K is saying speed, winner. Beverly, cut to the chase and say it's fast. Canada says Inaco is a type of performance car. And Terry Lee says the flags give me a feeling of speed, racing, Grand Prix. The use of cooped up is a play on words that engages the intended audience with a bit of humor. The flags guarantee performance and speed. Serena is co-signing with speed, durability, and top performance. Sansia, speed. The flag shows that the car is a sports car. You can use it for racing, even though the seats and it's small there, and the cool top with the Mini Cooper, it's a small car. They're saying never cool top, never be confined. And even sometimes these cars are deceptively small because you see them out and you say, that's so tiny, and then you go inside and you're like, hello, okay. Yeah. Halo added suggesting the car is fast. The never be cooped up phrase implies freedom when driving a car. Yeah. Those are the elements. Those are the elements that we're talking about. So Shanice is saying that she can't hear me. I'm seeing where my audio is going up. Anybody else can hear me? I'm just gonna stay in the chat a little. Anybody else have that issue? Yes, no. Okay, all right. Guys, I'm going to change my internet. Okay, I am back with you. Is this any better? Okay, great. Awesome. All right. So I'm going to continue from here. All right. So we have our traditional marketing channels and we looked at that and even kind of broke down on a traditional marketing platform, things that we kind of liked about their approach to communicating. Yeah. And things that we could kind of learn from. Here is an example of your billboards tool, which we are very familiar with. So what are some features of outbound communication channels? Yeah. So traditional marketing typically makes use of the outbound marketing in order to disseminate information to their customers. The features of outbound marketing is that it pushes messages out. You're literally trying to get the message out to as many persons as possible. The main emphasis is about scale and reaching the most number of persons. And the messaging, by virtue of the fact that you're going for a scale, is that you are creating and honing your messages for a mass audience. So since we understand traditional marketing, now we kind of have to tap into digital marketing. What does that mean? What's the value of digital marketing? And since I gave you a definition for marketing, and I've given you a definition for traditional marketing, who wants to take a stab at what digital marketing means? So while you guys are coming together for that, Kimon said the color black is giving me a vibe that says elegance and sophistication, perhaps power. The Mini Cooper is an expensive car, so the color black was intentional to appeal to a certain audience. Yeah, so all of those things, love it. Okay, so we have a raised hand, Rosemary Williams. I've enabled you, Rosemary. Please go ahead. You can unmute, Rosemary. Rosemary, are you around? All right, so we're gonna go over to Romario. Romario, I've enabled you to speak. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon again. Basically, digital marketing is using the internet and online, anything that's online based to promote and sell products. So basically, it's a way of getting products sold online and getting your products to customer and just building awareness around it online.
I love it. Anybody have anything to add? I think Rosemary was coming on. Rosemary, you can actually go ahead and unmute. Digital marketing. Okay,
Yes, miss.
missed it again.
Afternoon, miss.
Rosemary.
Yes,
Okay, yes, go ahead.
internet giving me trouble. So it's
Okay, all right.
marketing via electronic or electrical devices.
All right. Electronic is more like it because your TVs, well, your TV is an electronic device, so don't. So there's an area and your radio, which would be categorized under your traditional media. So there's a level or a layer that I think Romario, who would have just come on, would have said. I think he said internet. I think that's what he said. Um, that would be necessary. But I like where you're going. I like where you're thinking. All right. Um, so
Yes.
Shanice,
Yes. All right. For
yes,
me,
digital marketing.
all right, digital marketing is the way you interact with customers over the internet through social media, email, and etc.
Okay. All right. I'm glad that you didn't just leave it at social media because social media is not digital marketing. We're going to get into that too. All
Okay.
right. Also, guys, I tell you already, I don't have a class of 5 people or 10 people. So when Veral, Tanisha, Kadeen, Kimon, who named Karen Hutchinson in here, Romario, all Rosemary, come and them have their A pluses. I don't want any color complaints from anybody else raising their hands. All right. I am prioritizing. If you haven't spoken before, I come to you first. This class is not about the two people who already have marketing experience. If you don't know, you are the one who need to talk. All right. Bernadette, please unmute your microphone.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon.
Hi.
It's a little easier to type because I realize that the internet is going unstable. So forgive me, miss.
Oh.
All right. So I was saying that digital marketing is where the company undertakes activities to promote, the buying and the selling of the product and the services and stuff using all digital channels that are available, while maintaining good client relationship and engaging your customers and potential customers more.
Whenever I ask if you're a Jamaican, because Jamaican love tidy up and neat up. Whenever you get something, they package up well nice and neat to the bow. Because Bernadette went in. No, sir. She went in. Love it.
Okay.
Shauna K also joining, saying, telling the story. Yeah, man, absolutely. You're absolutely right. Telling the story or branding using online channels. Beverly, marketing utilizing online technology to promote products and services. So we're getting it. The distinction is really about using your online platforms. So let's get into our definition of digital marketing. Digital marketing leverages electronic devices, your computer, personal computer, tablet, phone, digital OOH, which stands for digital out of the home. Yeah. To provide an experience that influences a desired audience to take an action. And this is from Kevin Green, Executive Director of Marketing at Dell. Right? So let's kind of break this down because the other part, to provide an experience that influences a desired audience to take an action, you're still influencing a desired audience. Your main demarcation or difference is really what you're using in order to do that convincing. Right? So when we're talking about digital marketing, it's not just appearing somewhere. A lot of the time we get hung up, caught up, flustered, stuck on the fact that there's so many things out there and it gets confusing and there's a lot. Digital marketing platforms are tools. They're vehicles, they're channels, they're media that you can use and leverage. You are managing this thing in order to provide the particular experience that now influences. We talked about the tasty video earlier. It is influencing not just anybody, a desired audience, this group of people who you want to do this activity, that you want to take this action, to take a particular action. So you're also telling them what you want them to do. What did Tasty tell us that they want us to do? Buy more patty from Tasty. Buy more Tasty patty. Enjoy, become a part of the Tasty family, which necessitates buying Tasty. Yeah. All right. So before I go further, I see what we have a raised hand. Rosemary, you can go ahead. Or was it a mistake?
Yes, miss. The
Let me know,
OOH,
please.
what does it mean, miss?
Out of the home. So let me actually go back. Thank you for that, Rosemary. So when we talk about digital out of the home, have you ever seen some of those interactive even so, I want to use the word very carefully. Those interactive, almost billboards, not the ones that only uh change, the triangle one where you have one and then the other and then the other. That's still very traditional, but where you would literally have a screen and then it can show you different things. So we're literally a digital out of the home are literally digital digital presentations, or a tidier way of saying it. hmm So literally, outdoor advertising that has now been digitized, that somebody can stay at their office wherever and say, okay, it's 5 o'clock now. This group is likely to be passing by here now. We're going to push this message. It's 3 o'clock or it's 2 o'clock. Most primary schools are closed, most high schools are closed. So we are going to push this message. Chubby, we're going to push this message bigger, because chubby for the little ones, and now by 3 o'clock, the older ones are out of school. So we're graduating on to the next one. Yeah, yeah. All right. Yeah. So digital out to the home, digital media messaging specifically intended to reach customers outside of their homes. Digital place-based media. Um, yeah, yeah. All right. Kennard dropping some information in the chat. It's particularly common in highly pedestrian areas or heavy vehicular traffic. Okay, good. All right, so now we're on to our digital marketing channels. Yeah. Now that we're talking about digital, we reach the part where we're talking about inbound now. So digital marketing channels typically make use of inbound methods of disseminating information in order to attract, engage, and convert potential customers and to boost customer retention. So when we're talking about inbound, we are so outbound was a pushing messages out. Now that we're talking about inbound, we're talking about pulling people in, particularly through the use of your content. Using your information, your content, what you're putting out to draw people in. And what we saw that in this class so far, who did that very well was Tasty. Tasty never went, buy my patty, buy my patty, patty are the best, better than the rest. Yeah, they didn't use even a catchphrase or slogan, right? They didn't tell you that their patties have 20% more beef and no, juicier, healthier, less saturated fat. Like, they didn't even go there. They literally shared with you a part of their legacy and a part of their story and the history that they've been building on for 50 years. A Jamaican company built by people who grew from little. It didn't start out with 50 buildings and daddy's money. It started out with one kitchen and one man. And they transformed what used to be a snack shop and place into Tasty that still exists today. You know how powerful that is? That is absolutely powerful. All right. And we're looking at our digital marketing channels. So we have search engines. Now, for those of you who may not know, a search engine, an example of a search engine is Google. Google is a search engine. So is Bing. These are platforms that you go on to find other information that is relevant to you. Um, we'll also have some other examples of search engines that may be very interesting to you. And we're actually going to deal with this in one of our future sessions, but I'm going to mention it to you now. Did you know that YouTube is a search engine? And so is Pinterest. But Pinterest straddles both the social media and a search engine space. Yeah. So, fun fact, things to note, and we will deal with it in more detail in subsequent classes. All right. So, next we have social media. Sorry. Next, we have social media, and we're familiar with many of our social media platforms, and we also have web-based platforms. We also have mobile and web applications. All right. So I'm seeing that we have some activities here. Shireen, the digital out to the home is different. Yes. One, because it's digital. So we're changing this from a very static experience to something that may have audio. Okay. Even if we look at something to say digital out of the home, let's forget a digital billboard. Let's go into you're at the supermarket and at one of the end caps, which is literally at the end of an aisle where they might put a big Jerry, a nephew, or a bucket, or you might have a special thing for Grace or whatever in a supermarket. And somebody has some sort of digital screen, something that is highly interactive, something that can talk to you, something that can, when you put certain things in it, it does something else. So it's not just restricted to one thing that you see. This is it is a category that encapsulates all of these digital interactive things that you experience outside of your home. That isn't your phone, that isn't your laptop, isn't your computer, but it's out of, so it's literally a blanket term. Yeah. All right. We had two persons with raised hands as well, and these are new people. So Nelvin, I believe you were first. Please, I have enabled you to unmute. So please go ahead. Hi, Nelvin. All right. Nelvin is still muted. So I'm going to move on. Stacy. Stacy, you are raising your hand. Oops. Sorry, I accidentally muted you back, Stacy. Please go ahead. Yes. Stacy, not hearing you.
You know?
Yes.
All right. So I'm asking, do you think that type of subtle marketing still works? Since our generation, we say that attention span is like 3 seconds. That type, to me, that kind of subtle marketing is kind of a slow build up for, I guess, the people who are used to seeing ads on just TV. Do you think still works for like our generation of people who need to see, I guess, products in your face versus the subtle thing.
Okay, so we're getting there in terms of our class, but I will say that there's a place for the different things. Is the place that it has now the same place that it had 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago? Absolutely not. However, there is value in reinforcing messages. There is value of persons within a particular geographical or physical location knowing a particular message. There's even status symbols, because where you put your billboard can also be saying something about that brand. If you put a billboard in Times Square, even a flyer, a poster, that says something different than having it in anywhere else, virtually anywhere else. So there is value in still having areas or aspects of traditional, and then it also depends who are you trying to communicate with, because if you're trying to communicate with particular groups, you would be able to ascertain that they're more likely to access certain channels than others. Even if we're pulling it over to the traditional space, we may say, if you're trying to reach a 25-year-old, you may find them more on a Fire 105 or a Zip or a Fame rather than an RGR 94. Yeah. So even within the context of traditional marketing, there is space to kind of move around. All right, Romario, your hand is up.
Yes, Miss. I wanted to add to the thing that the other person said.
Mhm.
So basically, I think the subtle marketing strategy like what TSTs use. I think it is not really something that yes, it is able to sell product, but it's not that. I don't think that's the main goal of that advertisement. The main goal, I think, for me is like brand loyalty and customer experience.
Mhm. And I, you know, it is about brand loyalty. It is customer experience. I would say less about because what you said, the family and the people sitting and enjoying the meal together. So you're equating the meal to the experience. Because when you talk customer experience, you're not just talking about enjoying the meal. You're talking about when you walk up to the lady and she asks you what you want. You have a stand up with the ticket and kind of beg somebody to take your ticket and not somebody else's ticket. And yeah, so that's why I kind of hesitated a little bit with the customer experience part. I see it, but only if I tilt my head to the side and lock one eye. Yeah.
But
Uh,
I guess that's
but not because I'm not telling you or jumping up. Perfect example. Shop came Lady Mart, and if you did, and furniture, $9.99. I even did the annoying trill voice. You owe me. Yeah. It's not because I'm not saying buy now. Doesn't mean that I'm not trying to get you to buy now. Mm-mm.
yeah.
Look at that Mini Cooper ad, and that is an ad, and that was traditional marketing still following a very, very, very much outbound experience. When we started deconstructing first class, people start deconstructing a very simple ad which literally have one car against a plain black background and two flags sticking out of the window. But as we started deconstructing, as we looked over the other side and saw the title, we couldn't even read the text in the ad, but we just saw the heading, the headline, and the visual, and we were able to pick up so many different subtle cues. Layers on layers. The flag is not just a regular flag, it's a race car flag, which means this is a race car. The car small. It's called a mini, but they're saying don't be cooped up. It's small, but it's not small. So um and all of these things, though they're not saying a Mini Cooper is $10 million or 15 or however much, I don't know. Um, but they are saying sophistication. They are saying certain people drive me. They are saying performance, like what a lot of persons picked up. They are saying BMW because that's association. A lot of people they may say, Mini because that's the branding that is shown on the car, and Mini Cooper, and they don't know it's a BMW. They're making that association for you. They're making that connection. They're fixing that. Yeah. So with the Tasty ad, they never said buy me once, but I got a little hungrier after watching the ad.
Yeah, all right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
And so it definitely, because as Jamaicans, here is where understanding your customer comes in now. Jamaicans don't care about a lot of things. They not care about all heap of things we not really business about. But when you talk about national pride, when you talk about a man coming from nothing and doing something and making something of himself and his life and his family, we have a soft spot for them something there. When you talk about achievement, like real, like things that make you goosebump, Usain Bolt winning 100-meter race, breaking a world record. Yeah, there are a lot of things that we really couldn't care less about. Sometimes famous people walking on the road and people just look and say, okay, and go on back about them business. Only per time. Yeah. But these are the things that Jamaicans care about: tradition, family. And so if you can associate your brand, with authentically Jamaican as a part of Jamaican DNA. You can't talk Jamaica and don't talk about tasty patty. We're not just patty, taste, very specific, tasty patty. Plus, I also think that Juicy hit the ground running before Tasty did with this whole concept of having pre-packaged boxes that you can come and pick up, and they have them frozen and available in supermarkets and stuff like that. That you can just go and you pick up a box of a dozen or 24 patty, and you put in your suitcase. You don't have to get the juicy patty. So, this is Tasty's response to say, yeah, man, you think you're slick? You're not slicker than we. Yeah. All
yeah.
right, Shireen, giving you the opportunity to say something, and then I will go back to the presentation.
Hello, good afternoon. Am I coming through clearly?
Hi, afternoon. You are.
What I wanted to say, and
Mhm.
it is in addition to the
Mhm.
subtle marketing, the comment about the attention
Mhm.
span. When it comes to
Yes.
my personal experience is when I see an ad and I realize it's an ad, sometimes I turn off the sound and I turn off my phone because I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
When it's subtle,
Yeah. You
when it
tune out.
yeah, when it's subtle and I'm seeing a story instead of buy this 50% off, I'm more likely, even if I turn off the sound, I might watch it because I'm going to have to get through the ad based on where I'm seeing it. But at
Yes.
least I am looking at it, and that is a part of the battle for the attention span because most people, particularly in my generation, we don't like to see ads. Sometimes when
We've
I
seen so many.
You see
We've
so
seen so
many
many and been bombarded with so many messages that it gets annoying. And also, you tune out what tends to come off as so salesy, so almost sleazy, almost. I mean, yeah, you hear the message. Okay, great. Island Eyewear. Okay. If anybody watched YouTube in 2020, they know
was
what I'm
about
talking
YouTube.
about. Okay, all over. It was rinsed, and then they changed the ad, and yeah, yeah, yeah. So, but in understanding the fundamentals of digital marketing, and this is a part of the distinction and a part of the change that we have to come to appreciate, in understanding that we're not just sending one message that has to be reduced to something as simple as a pen cover in order for it to navigate and to be accepted or make sense to 50 different groups. I can leverage a digital platform and customize my, still selling pens, but I'm selling a certain type of pen to millennials. I'm selling a certain type of pen to kids who are in school, students. I may customize a special one for college students who want to feel a little ha 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 ha, you know. I'm a little more sophisticated now. And I can position a different um in fact, it may not even be a different pen. I may just attach a different message to all of these different groups. Or you could have different product segments that is targeting these different groups. Using having to put the message out to everybody. Yeah. And we are also talking about using those inbound methods, which talk about our ability to tell a story. So many people picked up on the storytelling aspect. To use my content and the information that I'm sharing in order to actually entice you, energize you, get you to feel something, which is where the emotion comes in. Not all the time do we want to be nostalgic and feel good. Sometimes we might want to feel excited. Sometimes we might want to feel, yeah. So to really get you to remember to engage with something. All right. So moving on. So how is digital marketing different? Yeah. So there are some major ways. There are many ways in which digital and traditional marketing are different. But we've identified these primary methods in which digital marketing differs from traditional marketing. The first way is access, the type of access that we have to persons, right? Um, with your traditional marketing, again, it's a broad brush. You may have specialty magazines, for example, Forbes magazine, InStyle, or that know niche based on different groups. But again, you are tapping into everybody who wants a home in a certain bracket. These things can be broken up further, yeah? Versus with your traditional platform, even if I'm running an ad, I can know super hyper target exactly who it is that I'm talking to. You have different communication channels, and many of these channels are absolutely new because they did not exist 10, 15, 20 years ago. Your visibility and reach is also different. How many persons can see you? For example, if I wanted to get a message across 20 years ago, I may have put something in the paper, or I may have put up a poster, which or a billboard. I put up one billboard in New Kingston. That's excellent placement. However, somebody from Mumbai still doesn't know I exist. And my customer still lives in Mumbai. One of my, a nice segment of my audience lives over there. Um, so how visible you are, and how many persons you're able to reach. Let's come out of a local space and go to international. Now, instead of your information only being able or accessible to people locally, when you post something for your business on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, people around the world can access it. Now, does that mean that it's random people? No, these may be persons who are part of the diaspora, who have a special interest in Jamaica, who have some other connection, or who really love whatever it is that you're creating, whether that may be crafts, whether that may be graphic design, whether that's animation, whether that's film, in whichever space you're occupying. Yeah. Message customization. I've alluded to this before, but digital really allows you to be able to customize and speak to a particular audience at a particular time. I can have a certain message being shown to millennials versus being shown to baby boomers, versus being shown to people who earn above a certain amount or below a certain amount, people who go to church or people who don't, eh, people who own a particular, um, who are pet lovers, and people who are not. So all of these things allow for greater flexibility and control by you, the person who is trying to send a message, as well as data accuracy. So you may have gotten a statistic previously when we're talking about traditional marketing. Your statistic that you might have gotten is 10,000 people bought the Jamaica Gleaner today. 1,000 persons did this or purchased this supplement, or yeah. With digital platforms, you're able to go deeper, and you're able to identify how many persons saw, how many people were delivered your ad, your image, how many people saw were delivered is one. How many people saw it is another metric that can be tracked and monitored. Pardon me. How many people interacted with it? So did some form of engagement, whether that was liking, commenting, sharing it. How many people clicked? So if this is an external link that carries them to your website, how many persons did that action? And how many persons, from having seen your advertisement, actually bought whatever product or service, or what activity did they end up doing after seeing your ad? All of this is information that you can access using digital platforms that was not as accurate and was not as available in terms of information to you using your traditional platforms. So, further information dealing with inbound marketing. Now, inbound marketing looks at creating quality content that pulls people towards your company and towards your product. And you're literally aligning the content that you publish with your customers' interests. Yeah, and by doing that, you naturally attract inbound traffic. And the example that I have here is Barita Investments. Now, Barita has been doing a lot of interesting things online. And I'm actually going to go through this. I'm going to come back to this slide when we're doing our tutorial session, so that we can kind of go through some things in a little more detail. All right. I quickly want us to go through our digital marketing platforms. Now, we are going to delve into each of these in more detail. Well, not each of these, but the main areas in more detail. But I want you to get an understanding of our digital marketing platforms. So first, we have our search engines. Now, I gave you some examples earlier, but search engines crawl, index, and rank websites into their catalogs based on keywords. Keywords are literally anything that you would type into Google, whether it's one word or a phrase, that's considered a keyword. So restaurants near me is a keyword. How do I clean a fish tank? That's a keyword. Now, search engines like Google, when I type in, how do I clean a fish tank? They call it crawling. Just like our bug crawls, that is their process of reviewing information on a website. Indexing talks about you found the information, you know what information is on that website, and you put it in a folder. That's indexing. Or you add a little note to it. You add one of those little flags to it, so you know that when you turn to this page in the book, that's what you're going to find. That's what indexing is. And ranking, after you have things organized in folders, you have it organized in folders, but it's not in any particular order. Yeah. So ranking happens based on what the keyword is that prioritizes whether my answer is more fitting and more suiting than your answer that you put online. So it is literally ranking what is more relevant than something else, which is how you get results when you put in a query on a search engine. So that's I've broken it down for you. All right, so using the right keywords makes it easier for a user to find your content, thereby increasing your brand's visibility and reach. So it's very important that we understand what it is that people, yes, are searching for when we're talking about search engines, but how our customers refer to our products or services. It's just like we have to understand, if you were a stationery company operating in the United States, you would not call your eraser a rubber, because their culture has a completely different meaning for what that is. Yeah. So using the right keywords is super, super, super important. So that was search engines. Yeah. We're going on now to social media. Now, social media platforms are modern communication platforms that allow users to instantly share content, build networks, and form virtual communities. So we're familiar with a lot of the most popular social media platforms, and fundamentally, social media platforms allow you to instantly share content. That allows you to build networks and form communities. Yeah. Next, we have websites. Another thing that you will notice is social media is just one component. There was search engines before, social media, now we're talking about websites. So there are many, many different digital platforms. So your website is literally a collection of publicly accessible, interlinked web pages that share a domain name. Basically, have a domain name that anchors and holds together all of these different pages that you create. And all of them coming together is a website. So your home page, your about us page, your contact us page, all of them work in harmony under one single domain name, and as such, it is considered to be a website. A website that has an effective, and effective is very important, SEO, search engine optimization strategy, supported by social media. So see, we're talking about interlinking your digital platforms, increases your rank in search engine results pages, SERPs. So literally when you type in something on Google and you press enter and the results come up, that page that you're seeing is called a search engine results page, or SERP. And by extension, it can also increase traffic to your website. All right, guys, I'm going to go through the rest of the platforms. And then when I'm done, I will come back to you for questions or any queries and stuff. So if you have a question, just write it down, please. You can put it in a Q&A. You can drop your comment in the chat or whatever so you don't forget. But I'm going to be going through the information, and at the end, we will come together in our tutorial session. Yeah. All right, so we have email. Email or electronic mail, which is what email stands for, are messages that contain text, files, images, or other attachments sent through a network to a specified individual or group of individuals. So literally putting a definition as to what we understand email is. And that definition is from computerhope.com. Now, email is very important when we're talking about digital marketing. It actually plays a huge role in the sales funnel. Now, we talked about what's the purpose or function of marketing, and a lot of it had to do with your product and service and getting those moving. Yeah, that's what most people use marketing for. And now we're saying email is a huge part of your sales funnel or your sales process. This is because it allows you to directly communicate with customers and build relationships, and or help to keep your customers engaged in between purchases. And somebody talked about keeping persons engaged, customer retention, when we were dealing with Tasty earlier. So we're seeing elements coming out. Also, when we talk about our sales funnel, we will see how instrumental email is. All right, we have mobile and web applications, apps for short. It's software that can be installed and run on whether it's a computer, tablet, smartphone, or some other electronic device, or accessed via a browser. So because there's so many smartphones and smart devices that are available to us now, apps have become super important in establishing and expanding your place in an audience's heart. Apps make it easier, can make it easier for brands and businesses to directly communicate and connect with their customers. And once done and managed and maneuvered properly, apps can be really helpful. Okay, so we've talked about traditional marketing and we've talked about digital marketing separately, but one thing that is really important to underscore is, in many cases, it's an integrated approach that is most effective. No, it won't be for everybody. Many of our cases, we may have a mom and pop situation, but even when you have a small business, particularly a craft based or a creative business, for example, someone who may make jewelry, you know that a big part of your business is also going to craft fairs or showing up in different spaces where persons want this kind of is kind of art, this kind of thing that is good for a gift or for a friend or otherwise. We understand taking a more traditional approach as well as keeping your social media active, responding to persons, etc. Yeah, so that is where we're going with this. An integrated approach works because traditional and digital media work together and work together well, actually. How they collaborate helps us to expand and to grow our audience, how many people it is that we reach, expand communication, and can also increase operational efficiency. Because if we were only using one platform in isolation, we may not have been accessing or tapping into all of the persons we wanted to communicate with. We may have not been doing this in a way that was completely efficient if it is that we wanted to meet people in a particular geographical location or of a particular age group, for example, or of a particular profession. One way may not have done it only. We may incorporate or pull in multiple approaches. So an integrated approach to marketing communication makes sure that all channels are aligned and are following the same strategy, overarching business objective, and company values. Now, what this is trying to say to you is that this does not mean that the same ad that you see in the newspaper is going to be the same ad that you see on social media. Nuh-uh, that's not what it's saying. It is not saying that the ad or the message is going to be completely identical. No. It is saying that fundamentally the campaign, what you're trying to achieve, the essence of what you're communicating is going to be consistent regardless of which channel it is that you're using. However, it does not mean that what you're saying on them is going to be the same across all the different platforms. Okay, so Saint Bonaventure University Online had this line, and we thought it was really powerful. Creating a unified and seamless experience. So we're talking about integrated marketing. It's about creating a unified and seamless experience for consumers to interact with the brand or enterprise. And note that a lot of these definitions have brand or business, brand or enterprise, because you can have personal brands, different types of brands. It attempts to meld all aspects of marketing communication, such as advertising, sales promotion, public relations, direct marketing, and social media through their respective mix of tactics. So you as the marketer, you as the digital marketer, you as boss CEO, you're going to determine which tactic and which method, which channel, which media, which activity is best suited for which space. So that all of these different areas or components work together as a unified force. Yeah. So I'm going to come now over to our questions. If there are any questions that we have, and for the persons who would have raised their hands. So we have Romario. Romario, I've enabled you. Please, you can unmute.
Yes, miss. When you were talking about websites, right? You said something about if like you have an integrated a message like for the web for your social media. like probably have an Instagram with a specific name. You should if you put the specific name on the website as well, that would increase your SEO. How does that work?
Okay, good question. So how this works, remember that search engine optimization works based on keywords, right?
Yeah.
And a keyword may be your name. Just like how if you were looking for chicken, but if that's one thing, but if you said KFC, that's another thing, yeah? Right? So search engine optimization is about identifying what is most relevant to persons and delivering that information to people. Now, how search engines rank you, one has to do with your keywords, but it is so much more layered and has different levels than just that. It also takes into account the amount of traffic that you get, how many people are searching this thing. After they search it, where do they go? So if somebody ends up on your social media, on your Instagram page, and then from there they want to know the full menu. So they end up on kfc.com/menu. Yeah?
Yeah.
Or kfcjamaica.com/menu. Now that is why when people search KFC, push the menu page. Push the menu page first because everybody seems to be heading over there because the search engine's job is to make you want to come back. Is to provide you with such accurate results that you want to come back to this source for information. It's a trusted source for information whenever you need it. So that's how that works. It's not particularly direct always, instant either, because you have this name over here and this name over here. It's all gonna connect in harmony. However, based on the activities and the actions of your users, it over time, search engine optimization is also something that takes time. Over time, this is something that builds. Yeah, you understand? Is a little clearer?
Yeah, it's a bit clear. It's not clear, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah. All right. Do we have any other questions? I'm going to go over to the chat. Okay, guys, we would have covered this in orientation. So the PowerPoint is not going to be sent to you. However, you are going to have access to the recordings. So the recordings are actually going to be uploaded every Saturday um, onto the Kingston Creatives YouTube channel. So information is actually already up from some of the previous sessions that would have been held. So you can actually check there for updates. Sydney is saying that I went low again. You guys are hearing me again now, right? Because I'm seeing my audio bars going up and down. Okay. All right. Okay, great. All right. So I want to take this opportunity to do some housekeeping and some other activities with you. All right. Um let me actually just bring it up. Okay. So I'm going to go through. We've looked at Tasty Jamaica, and we've also taken a quick look at Barita. So let's look at both of them in a little more detail, and see what it is that we are picking up from these different brands, why we think we're getting this information from them, and I'm also going to have a few questions for you afterwards, in terms of some observations that come out from looking at these different brands. Let's make sure that that is up. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at Tasty's Facebook page. Here we see the cover. Discover the taste. Patties and loaves, cooked meals, sandwiches, pastries. And if we look over here, Tasty has almost 19,000 likes and 19,387 people follow Tasty Jamaica on Facebook. We'll have a lot of different types of content here, um, including their new jerk it combo, which is 2 jerk chicken patties and a Pepsi, available for a limited time period. And we see the type of engagement that is here. This post has 14 likes, 3 comments, and 3 shares. With all of the changes happening, everybody has to announce, particularly food establishments have to announce their opening hours and how they are navigating uh, the different changes. Also, let's see here, right under the post about opening hours, we have somebody, David Levy. Okay, where may I get a box of chicken patties to come overseas apart from duty free at the airport? That's what David wanted to know. And apparently Everton never saw the Ligani location in their list. So he was asking about Ligani opening hours, but everybody else was closed. So I think it was safe to assume Everton that Ligani was also closed. Yeah. Um, so we have just some information here. And this is a post from March, home for the weekend. Well, enjoy your favorite taste of golden goodness. Available in select locations as of Thursday, March 25. And they have delivery available and they've given you the prices. Yeah. Okay, so that was a quick look at their Facebook page, right? And not even too far in, and we're back into Christmas. Let's look at their Instagram page. They have less followers because over here was 19,000 and some change. On Instagram, it's 6,809 followers. But let's see the difference. Remember Jerk It over on the other side? It did have some engagement, but it definitely did not have over 800 likes, and it did not have so many comments under there, including persons asking where it's available and different comments, people loving it, people sharing their thoughts, etc. If we even look at this post that had barely any life over on the other side, it's a far cry from 800 odd likes, but it still got some sort of interaction. Okay, the home for the weekend post that we saw over on their Facebook page, over on Instagram has over 700 likes and multiple comments under here. Just based on our preliminary overview and assessment, what takeaways have you noticed based on what we've done so far? I'm going to open up the floor to somebody who is a raised hand. So just going to ask for you to raise your hand and share your observations just based on what we've seen so far with Tasty. All right, let's start with Tanisha. Tanisha, you can go ahead.
For me, what I realized with all their pages, they have the latest promotion on each page. So when you're signing to Facebook, you see what their latest promotion deal is. That's my input.
Okay, thank you, Tanisha. Anybody else wants to add to that? I'm seeing while somebody else is raising hand, I'm seeing Kyla said lacking in consistency. Second that. O'Shane says they have a lot more interaction on Instagram. Yes, they do. Guys, this is now the tutorial segment. My time for talking done. My throat tired. Yeah. So literally opening up the floor to you in order to share. So I'm waiting for your raised hands and your comments so that we can go further. All right, Kyla, I've enabled you to be able to speak. Please go ahead.
Good evening, class.
Yes.
My observation from both handles is that they are doing enough marketing. The marketing is not adequate, and the consistency is not there. Yes, they might have some good promotion, but because they have not reached as many persons, then I don't think they capture a wide audience.
All right. So we talked about it being inadequate, but they're telling you what meal is on offer. I'm playing devil's advocate here, okay? They're telling you which meals they have on offer and how much you can buy it for. See, for Easter, them have get hooked on our Easter special spicy citrus or barbecue fish sandwich combo, and when it's available for and the price and an idea of what it looks like. So what could make this more, what could make their page and their representation be more, look more adequate to you, since you said it's inadequate? What's missing?
All right. Instead of waiting until only holiday times to have these specials, keep it trendy throughout the period. So even though you have 2 patties for a certain amount, you have the fish sandwich. Promote daily so that people remember that the page exists and Tasty is still around. So you don't want to just wait 3 months until Easter and then you just bam, you're advertising this alone and then you go back silent.
So you're really talking about the consistency of posting, because them really spotty and really shaky. They're not very consistent with how often they post. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Good contribution. Good contribution. Thank you, Kyla. Okay. I have a new person, Georgia. Georgia, I've allowed you to speak. You have the ability to unmute your microphone. Please go ahead and do same.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Yes, I was a bit late. What I have realized with both social media handles, as everyone stated, they are inconsistent, and I didn't see any call to action. Like, what do they want customers or viewers to do with the information? I think they could do a lot more calls to action, like the first 100 person to do this, get something, I don't know, a free stick or anything.
Yeah.
And I think they are like that as a company overall, because I mean, Tasty is, well, I'd say the first Jamaican patty brand. They taste good, and I think they are too comfortable with that. Mothers is leading with innovation, and Tasty just needs to do better overall. Really.
Both mothers and Juicy, because I think it would have been I who came out with the Full House patty. It was mothers.
Yes, mothers.
Mothers would have done the Full House patty, but even things like having a shrimp patty, Juicy has it and Tasty doesn't. being able to introduce new flavors and stuff for your customers.
Yes.
So we can second that notion. All right. Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
You're welcome. Wait, Miss.
All right.
I'm not sure if
Yes.
you touched on this, but the Facebook, YouTube, yeah, the YouTube page for the pre-recordings, is that ready?
Yeah. So I would have
If
mentioned it's Kingston Creative's YouTube page, and they've created a playlist. So you can literally go on
type
and you will
Kingston
find
Creative.
Kingston Creative.
Okay, thank you.
All right, cool. Okay. All right, Bernadette. While Bernadette is unmuting, you guys also realize that this Get Hooked on our Easter specials looks like a poster that they would have posted in store, and that's because it probably is the same design. Yeah. All right, Bernadette.
Hi, Miss. Yes, I was saying for the tasty, what I realize is that they're not very engaging and interactive. As Georgia indicated, they could, put some call to action to it, but I think they're very complacent in their name, that they have a name and it's known out there, so people feel the need to be pushing more, but they're not very interactive. They just do posts, so once they put a
Right.
quote unquote flyer with all the info, they think that's enough for them because their name is out there. So they don't need to do any other interactive thing and stuff. And even outside of social media as a company, they tend not to be very engaging. I don't know if they're geared towards like customer retention a lot, but more towards just saying who they are and that kind of thing. If they did a lot more interactiveness and engaging, then I think they would do much better in their social medias.
All right. I agree. They're very, seem to be very comfortable and not understanding that the space has eliminated bigger and better out of relevance, bigger and better brands out of relevance. Okay, Stacy, you may go ahead. Stacy and Reed.
Observation. What if it is not necessarily complacency, but a thing that people aren't really going on Instagram to go, oh, I wonder what I'm gonna eat today. They're more of a you're gonna pass and feel for a patty or smell the patty and come in store type of thing. And that is why they think that just putting up the poster is fine.
Well, that it can act as a part of it. However, if you know that your brand is for people who just so happen to be walking and smell a patty, or just so happen to see a juicy, succulent, freshly baked chicken cheese patty, yeah, and feel. Patty is something where you feel for. I don't know if I don't know if there's anything more Jamaican than to say, "Mo feel for eat this today," or "Mo feel." You wake up and you just desire this particular food. Patty sometimes falls into that category, especially when you haven't had it in a while. Yeah. Um. However, you can do that visually too. So that same kind of sensation that you could have felt walking past a taster, you smell it and you say, no, sir, off to go inside. And this is lunch today. Is the same way that there are so many ways to consume or to get information around content, and just show it in a way that makes persons want it. So somebody, we all saw the video. We all saw the video, and little snippets or clips of those videos, the girl going to the airport and walking with her tasty. If you didn't know before that you could carry tasty on a plane, that may make you ask that question. It's not everything that everybody know, yeah, or knows that you can actually get it in a box. If you always went and bought one patty, you might not even know that tasty is sold patties in a box or bulk. Yeah. So
True.
allowing for more interaction and engagement, which is why I agreed with the previous point around, because this post, Happy Mother's Day. Okay, Tasty. Okay.
But
um
what I also notice is that they don't change much about it, and the people on Facebook are different from the people that are on Instagram, and they
all
literally just like
right.
cross post.
All right. And a lot of the posts across the two pages are the same, and we realize that the people are interacting and engaging with them very differently. And we're also seeing how certain types of posts just get better engagement and interaction. For example, this one, very simply, no, not even very well designed, because the background, the yellow against this background don't really go. Yeah. But anyway, we forgive them. We let them go for that. Yeah. Let's have a vote. Which patty is the best? Jerk chicken, cheese, vegetable, chicken, beef. And here we have comments. It's 65 likes, but people are commenting the classic beef, of course, jerk chicken, beef, cheese. Somebody saying juicy patty. Yeah, chicken all the way. Then O'Shane is saying chicken, cheese. O'Shane know the shrimps. Yeah, so alphabet gettable queen D. See, you see, we'll have some people coming over to the tribe. Yeah, so um different types of posts have different type of engagement. This has some comments. It has 1, 2, 3, 4 comments, but it is still not, it's not the same as this. And sometimes our parties are just too good to share. Mommy, I don't want to give him any, get him off of us. Yeah. Which is different from them sharing this. Yeah. Andre saying, I didn't even know that they had a jerk chicken patty. There you go. Yeah. All right. Um, I'm assuming this is Kimon. I'm asking the person to unmute. You can go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, afternoon.
But this is not Kimon, this is Ked.
Ked?
Yes,
Okay. Hi, Ked. Go ahead.
yes. What I'm saying is that the post that they have there, most of the posts, like when I'm looking at posts on Instagram or Facebook, I mostly look at the colors that pop because it's more of the colors that pop to me than the content. When I see the popping of the colors, I'm more likely to read what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that is lacking in most of their posts. Next thing is that as the person is asking, like, how can they get this? Like an individual was saying, like, if you could bring the parties like to overseas.
Right.
Right. So I'm just saying that they need to push out more content in terms of how persons can order their parties. How can they get this done? They need to tell people exactly
Provide
how can they.
information.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So
And so we are identifying areas, because somebody might say, but what does a party company have to post every single day or multiple times a day? But literally, we're identifying gaps within their content right now. We're identifying that people are asking questions. How can I? Where can I get this to buy? How can I
exactly.
access this? And they're not answering. So there are two
Yes.
things actually coming out of what Kate said, which is engagement is really lacking. And I think other persons would have mentioned it before, but also actually using your customers' feedback in order to generate and create more content.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. All right, Kate. Thank you so much. Just taking these last two and then we're moving on, because I got stuff for you guys to do. All right. So Shanice, quickly, please.
Yes, for for me, I think they should interact more with the persons, respond more effectively, and also information and where location where they can get the products to buy.
Okay, great. All right. Romario, last one before we move on. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, for me, what I see is they can be more interactive in terms of like they are just posting like probably more like advertising and just throwing stuff at us and
Yes.
like doing
And
like
what does that remind you of? Let me put you on the spot. Just throwing some information at some people and say, yeah, we want you to know this.
what is that well it could be a lot of things because like entertainers on social media as well, most of them just do that as well, just like they have a new music video.
So where I'm going with that is the fundamental difference between how we talked about inbound and outbound marketing.
Outbound.
They're still taking the old, whereas they're still taking the old method of communicating where you literally posted, you played you played an ad on the radio and people just supposed to hear it and then will come, where you did something in the gleaner and and so you push out information, you don't really care about what they had to say in response, and you're also not fostering that relationship that we would have talked about, right? Nor are you using content, because the few times that we saw them do a little thing was the two kids with the patty
Yeah, that was
and say them not share, and yeah, it never bad. And even though we never like the graphic design of the which party is the best, lots of organic engagement. People had a lot to say about which party is their favorite. So people care, people are interested, people are connected to the brand. It's just not working as efficiently and as well as it could be. All right, so I'm going to move on now, guys, to Barita. And I'm going to show you 3 pages. So we're just going to do it very quickly about Barita investments. They're talking here, what do you need to navigate the markets for the rest of 2021? The Barita Brain Trust Think Tank series will be offering tips and key insights. And this is a pinned tweet from March of this year. Yeah. Please note, for those who don't know, Barita is an investment house. And so they deal with a lot of things in the finance and investing space. So their topics, they're talking about car loan payments, car insurance, mortgage are things that would fall under your fixed expenses, while the cost of your groceries, utilities, and fuel are variable expenses. So they had asked a question, and they're doing this in a style of a game show type. This almost looks like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire with these options, saying fixed expenses versus your variable expenses. Yeah. Okay, so this was the question that they asked first, and then they put it in categories up here. So they asked it and then they answered. They're talking about bull and bear markets. The terms bull and bear are used to refer to market conditions. This week, we will be teaching you how to navigate both. Look out for more. And they have a video happening here, bull versus bear. Investing when titans clash. Yeah. Yeah, so this is an example. This is their Twitter account. So there was actually a conversation happening on Twitter talking about red flags in a relationship around this time. And so they said, investing without a plan, .. red flag. And as you can see, they got 30 retweets and 79 likes on this post. Yeah. So we're looking at a brand that typically may be in one of the most boring fields, finance, and can also be very technically difficult to process. But they found ways to communicate. Let's take a quick look at their Facebook. During the lockdown, there were gains to celebrate, as at April 21, 2021, our Capital Growth Fund had a 12-month growth rate of 15.44%. And they said the money you invested in Capital Growth Fund in April 2020, your money 15.44% bigger in 2021. So again, these are slightly different from what they had on their Twitter, but all of it in keeping with their main reason for existing, why they exist. Yeah. The IMF is now projecting a stronger recovery in 2021 and 2022 for the global economy. Naturally, la 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 la. So they said investigation. The Sahara Desert is 10,417 kilometers from Jamaica, yet it can still affect our weather. It's the same way that external economies affect Jamaica's, so it's best to pay attention to them. The IMF is now projecting a stronger recovery in 2021 and 2022 for the global economy after an estimated contraction of negative 3.3% in 2020. The global economy is projected to grow at 6% in 2021 and 4.4% in 2022, and they have provided their sources. So that's just a glimpse at Facebook. They have the same financial elite question, but it's in a different format. If you realize the Twitter one was more rectangular, while this one is more square. And we quickly taken over to their Instagram page, which we would note has almost 40,000 followers. And we're seeing some similar posts, but the interaction, like on this one, 227 likes, 15 comments. This isn't a biology lesson, it's how a stock split works. So they're looking at different elements and showing you in practical senses and through diagrams and showing you something, how a concept like a stock split, which is a jargon, it's a term within finance, how that works. Now, because of time, yes, Stacey said they went from subtle to 100 real quick. Yeah, and they are also coming to your level and showing you, me no big pan maths, but I can see 6, 6, 6, 6. I can see that they're all equal. If I'm more of a visual learner, this may make more sense to me than seeing a big block of text, and they're still giving me the information. They're giving me the facts. So I know I can trust them, and they're giving me source information, facts. But they're doing it in a way that persons can appreciate. If you've ever logged on to Netflix, you would be familiar with this setup. And so they're using culturally relevant things to communicate messages of a focus that relates to them. It's not random. It's very, very targeted. All right. So for the interest of time, I'm just going to ask one person who by way of raised hands, and I'm not taking anybody who would have spoken before, a new person to just give a recap or give their thoughts on Barita, and then we'll move on to our next activity. One person very quickly. All right, so we'll go. We will go. Romario, Romario, just say your 2 cents and let's go on to the next activity, please.
Yeah. I think that their message is more appealing in terms of like how they do the graphic design. The text is better and everything. Plus, they have more engagement and they're not just throwing stuff at you. Even though they are in a market where people don't really especially in Jamaica, people don't really prioritize finance and investment as
Mm-hmm.
much. But
Mm-hmm.
they are in the way that they are marketing their stuff now, they
Mm-hmm.
are getting better engagement than even taste.
Yes, that is a brand that we know and we love from long time, and that everybody from your brother to your sister to your granny to your pitney, everybody can partake in without this big rigmarole. So it also makes you question, which leads me to actually one of my questions, which is Tasty has a bigger following on Facebook than Barita. Why? Why do you why do you think so? And you guys can just drop your answers in the chat so we can move very quickly. Um, why do you think that Facebook has a bigger audience on Facebook? Since you're still on Romario, you can go ahead.
I would say that because they have been around for a longer time and basically they actually already have brand loyalty and people already love Tasty already. So if you see a Tasty brand ad pop up and you on your Instagram also, you're most likely to follow Tasty because they already have proper brand awareness and such.
Okay. All right. Good to go. That's one thing. Stacey had reiterated the same thing to say brand loyalty. Georgia said die hard brand. We have some followers, some people who. Shauna K is saying there's an older audience on Facebook and a younger audience on Instagram. That's a very important point. Um, So more people might be interested in eating than understanding money. That's one other thing. But also understanding nostalgia. Romario mentioned it too, where he was talking about it's a longer term brand. It's a brand that's been around longer. Plus, this whole investing is sexy. 5 years ago, it was not sexy. It was still very uh exclusive message around investing and what an investor looks like. And so the conversation around everybody can invest down to your security guard should be investing. You can invest with $1,000 or a little bit of money. $10,000, use that and start and buy some stocks. That was not the message being communicated 5 or 10 years ago. It was sophisticated portfolio, build your wealth. And that message never really resonate to a man who knows say, listen, a 10 grand I have right now in my pocket and me need something to do with it, but me don't know what. So um Terry Lee saying Barita is engaging a certain demographic of clients and is being surgical in their marketing approach. Um, Excellent. Terry Lee saying Barita is targeting a certain demographic of client. Oh, so that's the same thing. Kimone is saying Barita talks money, and that's not very social or engaging to many people, as opposed to Tasty, which involves food and more social engagement. But Kimone, we all agreed that we liked Barita post more. So Barita has been able to successfully turn a topic that is not sexy, that many people would find boring, stiff, cold, and transform this into something that actually uh people are engaging in, and we've seen how they've done that. If I even scrolled further down, they use a lot of cultural references. They use a lot of um things that are happening, current events that are happening know in order to push their message. So we've been having conversations about violence against women based on a lot of the things that have been happening. And here it is on Barita's page. And I'm sure they don't just leave it there. They give some statistics, and they also said without women we can't reach our full potential, which kind of ties right back to being the best that you can be. They're making a stand on this thing that affects people across everybody. But beyond that, as you see, this is WhatsApp. Yeah. Um, the dogs moving to Canada. Um, what else? There was something with FIFA some time ago. They had just launched their new PS5 product, and they literally pulled up on it. So we're talking about um Lent. Could you give up debit or credit cards for Lent? They use a lot of current events, but it's not just about the current event itself. They literally put it in context. There was a social media video that went viral about this guy. What was the girl's name that he said? Was it Simone? Simone, you never want me when I said that I was going to buy 2 cow and whatever. But now, Simone, look here, look at that guy driving a car with his herd of cows around. Yeah. And so as an investment house, they came out and said and asked you, the public, which investment is better? Buying, licensing, insuring, and renting out your first and only car, or using the same money to buy 2 cows and 2 bulls, even though you have no land space at home. So asking us, and these are very culturally significant because everybody knows or has passed a bunch of goats walking on the side of the road from place to place with a dog leading them, and the owners don't have much less grass, but them own goat. So um so there are a lot of answers that people give. Yeah, lots and lots of answers. All right. So I did want for us to tap into that. Yes, you're a loser, Simone. Yes, I remembered right. Yeah. So even unsexy topics and conversations can become sexy based on you, based on your positioning. And that's why it is so important what you're doing now, understanding the different platforms, how these things work, how you use them, and and how you tailor your messages. Very, very quickly, going to do this in 5 minutes or less. I okay. No. Okay. Okay. So I had a poll that was set up. However, it is not showing up in this group. So unfortunately, we won't be able to do that. All right. So I will move on to the next thing that I have to do for you guys. And here we would have talked to you guys about splitting you up in groups. And so based on the registration list that we've received, we actually have put you guys in groups. Please note, I'm going to send you some information. By tomorrow, you will receive an email with the names and email addresses. I only have email addresses for you guys. I'm sorry. Um, of the different persons who are in the different groups. Okay. There has been no chickini business in putting you guys in the groups. I literally sorted you all by alphabetical basis and put you together. All right. Again, I'm not going to repeat the names and who is in which group or what, because you're going to receive it in an email. Great. All right. So group number 1, and please, if I butcher your name, I apologize in advance. Ad Adana Smith, Adriana Brown, Andre Adams, Anika Edwards, Ashley Coleman, Abigail Gardner, Bernadette Oldfield Brown, Beverly Hill, Brianna Chambers, Bridget Francis. That's group 1. Kasheen Scarlett, Chad Edwards, Chantel Stewart, Chloe Lawrence, Christopher Dennis, Cynthia Ramdon, Danielia Doyle, David Welsh, Gabriel Walker, Georgia Johnson. Group 2. Group 3, Jada Jackson, Jade Brooks, James Coley, Janister Perry, Janisha Dogan White, Jan Marie Olivier, Jason Lewis, Jesuth Duar, Giselle Singh, Joanna Powell. Group 3. Group 4 is Kadeen Tyndale, Carrie Brown, Kayla Beckford, Dean Edwards, Kadisha Coates, Kenardo Phillips, Chrisann Cox, Christian Campbell, Kyla Barlett, Latika Thomas. Group 5, Lidge Heron, Marsha Montague, Michelle Carpenter, Milton McKenzie, Nelvin Brown, Niconnor Brown, Nikish Smith, Nika Gammon, Odane Knight, Olivia Gordon. Or was that 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Group 6.
Ever trouble me.
Group 6. Omaria Brown, O'Shane Taylor, Peter and Smith, Peter Gay Graham, Petra Gay Morris, Ricardo Samuels, Ricardo White, Roger E. Harris, Romario Wallace, Roshane Corey. Group 7, Roxanne Stewart, Sabrina Johnson, Sansia Brown, Serena Hedman, Shaniva James, Shanice Natty, Shanice Robinson, Shanice Smith, Shanique Nunes, Shania Gordon. The next group, Shauna K. Campbell, Sheena Mitchell, Sheldon Bowes, Shelley Daly, Shireen Peart, Stacey Ann Reed, Sidonie Curlew, Tanisha Kane, Tanisha Dare, Terry Lee Patterson, and final, Tisona Ormsby, Tonian Johnson, Tonian Thomas, Trevan Hamilton, Vaughn Davis, Verol Blake. All right, guys. So yes, you're gonna get the names and their email addresses via email. Now, just to give you an idea or an understanding of what it is that we're actually asking of you, the activities that we're gonna give you to do and come back into the next session with are going to be group activities. And yes, you have an activity to do from today's session. Rosemary. That is correct, Rosemary, because I don't have your name on this list. Rosemary Williams. Did anybody else not hear their name? Please tell me in the chat. Rosemary, I'm going to talk with Kingston Creative, let them just fix up for me. What I would do is just add you to the last group once they can confirm everything for me. All right. Anybody else didn't hear their name? All right, great. So the activities that you get to do are going to be in your group. Now, a big part of this is we're trying to build you up to you being able to do your final assignment. And the final assignment is a group based assignment. So we're keeping you. Now, please note that for this class, I'm actually supposed to have many more people. I'm supposed to have double the number of persons who are in here today. So I do anticipate that much of your groups are going to cut into, right? So don't worry about that. If there needs to be shifts or changes, then we will make sure to do that. Yeah, but we first need to see what is happening with the groups before I can make any changes. Yeah, so we start out like this at least. Shanice, let's see. Shanice, yeah man, Shanice Smith, your name is here. Okay, so no worries for you. For next week, Monday's session, however, I have some homework for you. All right, in your groups, first and foremost, for the homework, I'm going to encourage each of the groups to create some sort of communication between you guys, whether this is via WhatsApp, whether you use, listen, you could use a carrier pigeon, yeah, for all intents and purposes. It doesn't matter which platform you are comfortable with for you guys to touch base and to talk, right? So that you can complete these various activities. So that's number one. For the homework now, you guys are being asked in your group to pick any local brand or business that use both traditional and digital communication channels. Once you identify a brand that uses both, we'll want you to identify which channels they're using. Are they using radio? Are they using TV? And what examples, yeah, of what they're doing. Then I want you to give examples of their inbound strategies and their outbound strategies. So I want to see that you're understanding these terms. And in your own words, I want you to tell me which you think has been most effective. And you have to justify your answer. Right? I'm going to give us put a summary of the question that I just stated. It's something that one of the students dropped in the chat in on the previous session that kind of summarizes exactly what I would have just said. All right. So that is your assignment for next week. Now, guys, please give us until tomorrow. Since we have somebody, Rosemary, who isn't on my list, I need to consult with Kingston Creative so that I can send all of you one email and not have to make any adjustments. So please give me until tomorrow. You'll get the instructions and you'll get the different groups. Shanice, when you get your email, you'll see which group you're in. Verbally. So in this, what I've just given you is going to form a part of our tutorial session next week. So this session where we looked at and we dissected Tasty some more, we dissected Barita some more. I'm going to be doing even less talking next week. Can you believe it? And inviting you guys to share your feedback. And naturally, you're choosing your own pages, so it is likely that you guys will choose different platforms, or at least have different feedback for these different pages. Chad, yes, your name is on the list. You are in group 2. I could easily, your, your name start with C, so you know the maths can reach this. So all right, guys, outside of group placement, do you have any additional questions, any final questions as we wrap up? Any questions as we close today's session? Okay, Ricardo, I can only give you information that I have. I don't have people's numbers. So I have their names and I have their email addresses. If I get their numbers, then sure. But otherwise, you'd have to reach out and make contact. Will the exercise be graded? No, your internal exercises are not graded. However, they help you to understand the different principles. As we've been looking at it, it is not easy. The concepts are very simple. This is not rocket science. But in order for you to actually get it takes a lot of practice. Sometimes the little nuance, you have to do it. Just hearing the words isn't enough. So these practical exercises, you do it for you to improve. If you don't do it, then I mean, all right. Any other questions? David, you're not listening to me. I'm going to send you an email. I've requested that you guys give me until tomorrow, since we have one or two discrepancies with the list where people didn't hear their names. So I'm going to sort that out today. And by tomorrow, you'll have an email with the instructions that I've already communicated to you, as well as the different groups. So who is in group 1, group 2, whatever. Y'all can name yourself. You can do whatever excitement you want to do. Yeah. But you're gonna get it via email. All right. Okay, folks. Great. It is now 6:02. Um, I hope we have clarified everything. There was a question, how can I get my name changed to the webinar? Understood. This is because of how you're entering the webinar. If you got a link in an email, use that instead of, I think there was a bit.ly link. Don't use that. Use the link in the email. Honestly, you're here and I'm happy you're here. So I mean, outside of that, I can't really guide you otherwise. Bernadette, thank you so much for the kind words, and I'm happy to have hosted you as well. Guys, thank you. I couldn't do my poll, and I'm really sad about that. But happy to have had you all on here, and looking forward to seeing you guys again next time. Remember, you come back on Wednesday, same time, 3 o'clock. Kadia is going to be going through the next session with you. All right. So we're building on. Each of these classes are building blocks, guys. You really don't want to miss one. So Wednesday for the next session. All right. Bye, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Keep safe. Awesome. Enjoy the rest of your day.